What is up, guys? It is Tony here, and today we are doing another how-to photo critique. And today you guys might have noticed that we are looking at some pretty low quality photos to start with here. And the reason for this is that we are going ahead and we are looking at what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months of doing photography can and practicing and working hard at photography, where it can get you, what it can teach you. So today we're going to take a look at some photos, about 5 photos I took when I first started doing photography with my Canon EOS Rebel T3. And we're going to move forward to these 5 photos here that I took very recently, and we're going to show you the improvements I've made over time and the things I can continue to improve on. Now, obviously, throughout these photos, you're going to notice that there's one major difference, that the quality of these photos is very low, and that the grain and the noise is just out of hand. And that's something we're not going to be critiquing today. We're going to be focusing on composition, we're going to be focusing on focusing, and we're also going to be focusing on, the creative side of things. Am I thinking creatively? Am I thinking outside of the box? Or am I just taking photos as things happen? Now, here is a case. This is a very early photo I took. I think this is the day I got my camera. You can see I'm using the kit lens, but that doesn't matter. It's about the photos themselves and the composition. And in this photo right here, you can see I was using my mind. I was thinking creatively. This is a very creative photo where I saw the light coming in. I saw the shadow casted on the right side of his face. I thought, this is beautiful. But what didn't I do right? What didn't I do in this photo? I kept the remote controls and the table in the frame. That was a very silly amateur mistake. When you are framing your photo, you need to make sure that the subject is framed perfectly. If possible, fill the frame, but if you don't want to fill the frame, use part of the background. I should have done something like this. But obviously, cropping is not what we do. Cropping is a bad idea because you reduce the quality of your photos, and especially in a photo like this where the quality is just horrible, you don't want to crop. You really just don't want to crop on a photo like this. You're actually going to notice, though, that I did crop. This is like a 1x1 or a 2x2. This is a square. So apparently I cropped this photo. I don't know why I cropped it. Maybe there was something really, really disgusting over here, like an ashtray or something like that. Because my family, someone in my family unfortunately does smoke. So maybe I cropped that out, but I should have cropped the whole thing out. I should have just done this, because maybe I would have looked back at this photo with a little bit more happiness. But it is what it is. This is a bad photo. It was a creative idea, so I had the creative instinct, but I just couldn't make it happen in the camera. So now here's another really bad photo I took. First off, this is one of my favorite. When I was a kid, yeah, because 5 months ago I was a kid and now I'm a man. No, but when I was first starting out my photography career, let's say when I was an adolescent in photography, when I was very new to photography, this was the shot. This was my favorite shot I ever took. I used to show people this and say, "Oh, this is going to be, this is like a magazine shot." I don't know what I was thinking. Why did I go around telling people that? Because, first off, the focus is off. You can see my dog here. His name's Rocco. He's going to be the subject throughout all these photos to keep some continuity. He's not in focus at all. The focus is on the grass. Now, the grass looks good. The grass looks vibrant. The colors look great. There's like a bone here, because I think he was playing with a bone, which shouldn't have been in the photo. That's a big flaw. And I think I recognized that at the time, which is good. But the framing's bad. I cut off the top of him. The focus is way off. I mean, this is just a bad photo. And the fact that I thought it was good, I can't, that's bad. That's all bad news. Here's a photo that's, creative idea. It's interesting. He's sleeping. But once again, the focus is a bit off. I focused on his nose, which is kind of weird. I should have focused on his eye, like this area here. But I got the moment. I captured the moment. It's interesting. I don't know what this big blurry thing is. It probably was my leg. I had a habit of just taking photos from wherever I was sitting. I wouldn't move around. That's one thing I've improved on in my photography nowadays, is I'll move around. I'll make this shot happen. I'll get in the spot that I need to be in. Back in the day, I used to just sit there and just observe what happened. So yeah, this is just another example of laziness in a photo. Still good ideas, but a little bit lazy. I could have moved and made this a better shot. Here's a photo where it was just very uncreative, way up in his face for no reason. I wasn't considering light, and you can see that there's a lot of grain and noise. So I wasn't really considering my settings, and the fact that I was using a T3 and my grain was off the charts. Also, the focus seems to be a little bit weird. Maybe I was moving too much. And this last photo is just awful. I focused on my bed sheet. This is actually when I got a T4i, so this is a little bit more recent. And this is actually a photo when I started really getting into photography I took. But I captured the moment quickly. I wanted to get him licking because it looked pretty interesting. It actually came out pretty weird. Like, look how his tongue came out. It's kind of weird looking. But you can see Rocco sitting there, but you can see he's way out of focus. The photo's extremely grainy. I think the processing on this is nice. I like the processing I did. But once again, just really bad focus, not really thinking through my shots. Also, notice how I'm above my subject. You should never be above your subject unless that's the intention. In this shot, I should have got lower. I should have been on the same plane as my subject. So now we're going to go ahead and get into the decent shots, or the newer shots, the shots that I consider actual photography shots, where if I printed them or showed them to a client, I wouldn't be embarrassed. So here's one shot. You can see, once again, in my bed. I think all these shots are in my bed because I basically just took a few shots recently and decided to use them for this episode because I wanted to make them, keep some continuity, do them all with my dogs because that's all I shoot now. That's all I shot back in the day was my dogs. But yeah, so this one you can see perfectly in focus. You can see it's sharp, straight across the eye, straight across this plane. You can see I have objects in the foreground and the background. The processing on this image is very good, and this is probably the least good photo of all of these images. Now if we move forward, now we've got a really nice shallow depth of field. You can see the focus is pretty much on the eyes and the nose area around here, which is very good. I'd actually argue it's a little bit off, but keep in mind I was manual focusing with a 1.8 and my dog was moving a lot. But I think this is a pretty good focus, pretty accurate, cool depth of field. You see all that bokeh in the background. Here's a really nice black and white. Same thing, good depth of field. Good framing. Now keep in mind on all these photos, rule of thirds. So if I put this up right now, you can see I'm placing the subject top right. I'm placing the subject on this one in the bottom left or bottom middle area. I'm basically keeping them off the side, not always centering things. You'll notice in a lot of these photos I either centered. This was okay, rule of thirds, but like in this photo, for example, centered. So you can see that, oh, here's another one, centered. But you can see that I improved at keeping my subject in the, on the side or in the, not in the middle, basically, in general. Now here's a really good photo where the depth of field was done properly. You can see very good sharp image around the eyes, and you can see the fur. You can see it's just lots of good detail in these photos. And here's a really cool photo. I like the processing on this one. This is probably one of my favorite of all the photos. It kind of looks like he's about to go run somewhere or whatever, but you get the point. So you can see the difference in my ability to take photos from now back to 5 months, well, three to 5 months ago, all self-taught, so it's not like I'm going to school for this or anything. I think it's kind of cool to see some of the improvements I've had over the years. Also, you can look at, my hockey photography and see that is a huge improvement, of course, just because of the fact that I'm actually shooting, getting out and shooting. But I just wanted to use photos of my dog as an example because that's the only photos I have from back in the day. It'd be kind of weird to compare these photos to, a hockey game or to some sort of shooting in the mountains or something like that. But yeah, there you go. That is a quick little comparison of my old photography to my new photography. If you guys enjoyed this critique, go ahead and comment below. And that was pretty much it. I will see you guys next time.